Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Recap KC. As always, I'm Nolan Akram. This is Jonathan Ellis. And for the first time on this show so far, we're going to be talking about our Royals. Um, as of April 14th, the Royals are 10-6, which is second in the AL Central after the loss to the Mets 1-2. Um, Throughout the whole MLB, Kansas City is top five in runs per game, home runs per game, triples per game, and slugging percentage. Um, I know we got the loss today, but yeah, that's just one thing I want to focus on because I feel like it's important because there's a long season ahead of us, and one loss is no reason to get down. And continuing on, pitching wise, Kansas City is top four in ERA, earned runs against the game, and top three in home runs per 9 innings. So I think our pitching's really been there for us all season, especially the starting rotation. Um, like I said, the KC, the top five in a lot of categories, major categories, batting wise, but I think we'd like to see the batting be a little bit more consistent, show up, especially like games like today. Losing 1-2, you really need the bats to show up. But anyways, we've only given up 48 runs this year, which is number one in all of baseball, while scoring 85 runs. Um, Together, this creates a run scored and runs allowed differential of plus 37, which happens to be number one in the MLB. And we also have the best record at home in all of baseball at 8-2. So at least we've been getting it done at home, but we are 4-2 on the road, or 2-4 on the road. Excuse me. So I think we need to get a little bit more consistent on the road. Our batting needs to be a little bit more consistent, I think, and maybe our bullpen. Um, but other than that, it's nothing too major. What do you think, John?
I mean, like you said, man, we've started off the season pretty well. Swinging the bats hot, man. Like Bobby Witt. You got Perez. There, and I believe Velasquez playing pretty well and
Yeah,
hitting over 300 right now. You got Perez with 15 RBIs. Even like a guy like Mark Garcia with 12 RBIs. Like I said, I don't really know how the game went tonight necessarily, but looks like we've been playing pretty good. Like you said, if we can get a little bit more consistently swinging the bats, I think it'll pay off a lot. Excuse me. And then pitching really been great. Like Brady Singer, less than a 1 ERA right now, 18 strikeouts. The relief pitching, like you said, has been a little spotty. There's been some really nice guys coming off the bench. The bullpen, and then there's been some guys that have just given up a lot of runs. So you got to see that get a little bit more consistent as well. But, for a Royals fan perspective, man, it's been a good start to the year. Not a lot of complaints to this point. If we can continue to play baseball the way we have, I think we have a pretty good shot of playing in October this year.
yeah. I mean, we're only a half game behind the Guardians, I believe. Um, so I think we're right there in the AL Central, man. I mean, I think that's a bigger focus than even making the playoffs. Is just getting a hold of the AL Central. I mean, that's been such a weak conference over the last several years. So that that should be the number one goal, and I think we have made that a goal. And yeah, hopefully we can keep it up. But the Guardians, they're a tough team, obviously, and um, but yeah, I'm not gonna put too much stock, like I said earlier, in this loss this afternoon. There's a long season ahead of us, and you mentioned Brady Singer earlier. He's 2-0 this year, which is tied for the seventh best record among starting pitchers with the .9 ERA, which is good for sixth best in the MLB. And he has a WHIP of .67, which is good for 10th best in the MLB. But of course, we also got Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo. Those are all stud pitchers. But Singer's only gave up 2 runs this year, which I didn't know that. So he's probably been he might be our most electric player so far this year. I mean, 2 starts, I believe it's only 2 starts, maybe 3 starts. But anyways, only 2 runs given up this year. I think that's just a sheer testament to his dominance. And he'll be a legit Cy Young candidate, man, if he keeps it up. I mean, I don't see how he couldn't be.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Like, I mean, pitchers as a whole, man, has been really impressive for the most part. Like I said, a little bit of inconsistencies there. Some of those guys have just given up a lot of runs, but we've scored a lot of runs in that department as well to really not affect it too much. If we can keep these bats hot, man, keep them moving. If tonight was just like kind of a fluke kind of game, you got to score more than 1 run, obviously, to win the MLB. Doesn't really help you out scoring 1 run too often. But if we can continue swinging the bats, man, putting them in play when we need to, and the pitchers keep it up, I don't see any reason that we can't compete for the AL Central and, like I said, make a push to the playoffs. But, there's still a lot of games to be played.
A guy that's kind of surprising, honestly, is Perez. He's still continuing to impress, even though he's obviously gotten older. As of right now, he's batting .339 with 4 home runs and 15 RBIs, which is tied for 7th in the MLB. He's a guy that I thought potentially could be on the trading block this off season, or I guess this previous off season. So I'm really glad that he's still with the ball club all these years. And man, there ain't nobody that deserves a chance to go to the playoffs more so than this guy. And I'm super glad that he's still on this team and that we didn't end up trading him, because I don't know if you remember those talks, but it was like, if we're gonna get better, we have to trade these older players. And so yeah, I'm glad that he's with us. And then Bobby Witt is killing it, batting to .333, which is top 20 in all of baseball. 4 home runs, and he's 7th in OPS with the slugging average shy of 700 at .679. So Bobby Witt, he's a legit MVP candidate in my opinion, and potentially Perez if he keeps it up. I don't see him finishing as a finalist for the MVP candidate as opposed to Bobby, but so yeah, there's a lot of excitement going on right now. And like I said, I know we lost earlier, but I do got to shout out Cole Reagans for his start earlier this afternoon. He did have 8 strikeouts. He gave up 0 runs and only allowed 5 hits and 1 walk in 6 innings. So after this game, Reagans is now 0-1 on the season with a 1.93 ERA, 29 strikeouts, and a whip of 1.2. So, yeah, we obviously lost, but he had a good game, and he's still very much in the Cy Young conversation, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, man. Perez, like you were saying, he deserves a lot of credit, man, for putting up the numbers he has so far this season. He's really the definition of a Kansas City Royal guy, man. Like he's been loyal to the team through thick and thin, through the best of times and the worst of times, man. Like you gotta give a shout out to him to continue to go out there and be great and care about this organization the way he does. I'm glad that we finally got a team that looks like can compete, and we have some pretty solid players all around in the pitching category and infield, outfield. So I think it's going to be a pretty fun season to watch, man, if you're a Kansas City Royals fan.
So, are you sold on us going to the playoffs? You think we're playoff bound?
Like I said, it's hard to say, man, considering, we're only like, I think it's like, 15, 16 games in right now. And,
Yeah.
it's hard to say, man. There's a lot of baseball to be played, but if they can continue just playing the way they have, even if it's like losing a couple, winning a few, if they can keep that kind of win differential right now, I think we'll be fine to be a playoff team.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you. And this division is more than winnable, so we just got to keep it up, and I think we can do it. But you ready to move on to your Wildcats and the transfer portal so far?
Yeah, man. It's been a pretty aggressive offseason for Kansas State. course, they had that scare with Jerome Tang thinking about going to Arkansas, and then caused a whole different whirlwind of things in college basketball. But regardless of that, he stayed. Doug McDaniel went ahead and committed and signed with Kansas State. Pretty much a huge transfer pickup. A guy who can play the point guard well and really step up as a veteran guard. Played in a good Big Ten conference. And I think he can really step up and be an automatic difference maker on day one on campus there. In other words, C.J. Jones from University of Illinois Chicago, as well as Baba Miller from Florida State, were on campus this weekend. Looks like those visits went pretty well. Baba Miller posted a photo of him in a Kansas State uniform, but he didn't commit. But he has shown interest, and he was on campus. That'd be a pretty big pickup. Mark Mitchell as well has been in the talks for Kansas State to pick up, being crystal balled to go to Kansas State. A former five-star McDonald's All-American from Duke who can play down low pretty well and be that guy. Unfortunately, they lost out on Mikael Brown-Jones as he went to Ole Miss. That would have been a big pickup, And then lastly, the last thing I want to throw in there is we'll get to see Omar Ballo next weekend. He'll be visiting this upcoming weekend. Really good center from Arizona. So if they could get somebody like that, that'd be massive for them as well.
So you were you kind of told me your opinions like via Snapchat if you guys were to pick up Ballo and what it would mean for Kansas State. But so on here, I kind of want your opinions. What do you kind of reiterate? What do you think it would mean for Kansas State if they were able to get him?
Well, like I was kind of telling you, man, like Kansas State hasn't had that dominant down low presence in quite a while, since probably back when they were like a 2 seed in the Jacob Pullen era with Jordan Henriquez, Jamar Samuels, those kind of guys, Curtis Kelly. But since that point, man, there hasn't been like a whole lot of dominant down low. You can argue like some guys like Stephen Hurts from the past was pretty solid and stuff like that, but they haven't had that dominant big man. And that kind of what was held them back last year when they went to the NCAA tournament and couldn't get to the Final Four. They got out rebounded like crazy against FAU with their 7-1 guy. So it would be huge. If they had a player like that last year, they'd be a Final Four team and they would have went to the Final Four. But that would be absolutely huge. Although I wouldn't be mad if they've got Baba Miller either. He's got a lot of size down low at 6'11" as well. So either of those guys would be massive pickups for Kansas State.
Yeah, and we know how Tang is though in the transfer portal. I think that he's going to make a good impression on Ballo. He's either going to go to Indiana, or in Kansas State. I don't know. I think those would obviously be his best choices. As I was telling you, if he wants the money, he's going to go to Indiana. They obviously got millions of dollars in their basketball program.
Yep.
And I think if they want coaching, though, or if he wants coaching, he's going to go to Jerome Tang. It's that simple. But and if he wants a better conference, I mean, I think you have a better chance of getting in the tournament at the Big 12. Especially if you're getting like 20 wins or more, you're pretty much an automatic bid.
Yep.
In the Big 10, it's not going to be that way. It's going to be tougher, but. Well, I mean, it's easier, but it's harder in some ways in the Big 12. It's kind of funny how that works, but I don't know. And maybe I'm a little biased. I'm not necessarily a Kansas State fan, but I would love to see Ballo come back or come to Kansas State. Because as a KU fan, the Dickinson-Ballo matchups would be insane.
Oh no, yeah, dude. Like you said, that'd be huge. But honestly, they got 4 scholarship players. Jerome Tang be patient in the waiting in the portal for the right guys to come around. I'm glad that he's been aggressive and get some of these bigger names coming to campus. I'd be really satisfied with C.J. Jones being like a stretch 3 as well. And like I said, Omar Ballo, if Tang can make an impression on him and get him to just commit to Kansas State before he even takes a couple other visits, that'd be huge, man. I think that would probably be their best bet of landing him without a problem, is if they can just get him to commit coming out of Manhattan.
I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but is that his like second or last destination that he's visiting?
I believe it's his second or third. I can't remember which one, but he'll be in K-State this upcoming weekend. So if they can get him some good some good stuff, show him campus and all that kind of stuff, I think they have a pretty aggressive chance of getting him to commit to Kansas State. But of course, even if he doesn't, like I said, I think there's some other good quality options for Kansas State as well. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it quite yet.
Yeah. Um, you guys are definitely going to go to the tournament, no doubt, if you guys can get that guy, especially Doug McDaniel. I mean, those two, that's going to pick and roll for days.
Yep, and then you got all the solid backcourt as well. David Castillo coming in, Day Ames. Even I don't know if for sure if Glover's going to end up coming back or not, but if he comes back, that would be a huge comeback for Kansas State too. I'm sure they'd gladly give him one of the open scholarships to return. If he wanted it, just because he's a nice veteran guard that we never got to see play in Manhattan, and I think he'd be a game changer in the backcourt.
So you haven't heard anything on Glover, though?
Nope, I've been trying to keep a touch on it. I've been checking his Instagram bio and everything. He still has Kansas State men's basketball in there and all that, but I haven't been able to find any kind of updates on if he's planning on coming back and using that medical red shirt or if he's just not going to play college basketball again or enter the transfer portal. But that'll be interesting to see. But either way, he'd be a big guy to come back. But like I said, there's a lot of talent in the transfer portal this year. So even if not, I'm not worried about it. I'm sure Tang can get a nice solid guy with one of those scholarships.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, as I always say, Tang's going to do what he's going to do in the portal. Guys are at least going to give him a visit. He's a culture setter. So you guys are definitely going to be getting a couple of those guys that are visiting, at least one or two of them, no doubt. I think it's going to be hard for them to say no. Um, but you got anything else you got to say, John?
Not really, man. I just think it's gonna be, like I said, looking good for next season. Should be a pretty aggressive roster that Tang's gonna build, and I think they'll compete in the Big 12 a lot better than they did this past previous season.
All right. Um, so I'm going to talk about my Jayhawks now, and so KU recently picked up Riley Kugel and Zeke Mayo early in the portal. Kugel was the first player in the portal to commit to Kansas. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't sat there and watched Florida basketball. I'm not sure exactly what his play style is, but I do know that he's a good sized guard, 6'5", 205 pounds. He averaged 9.2 points and 3.5 rebounds a game at Florida last season. Um, Throughout his first 2 years in Florida, he's averaged 9.5 points per game, 3.2 rebounds a game, and 1.2 assists. And his freshman year, he averaged 9.9 points and 2.8 rebounds. So I was kind of surprised. He's listed as the 13th best transfer in the portal, or point guard. He's listed as the 13th best point guard in the transfer portal, but he's listed as the 56th best player in the portal overall. So, um, have you seen this guy play at all?
I
This boy?
mean, like a little bit here and there, but not for the most part, man. Seems like he's a decent driver to the rim and can shoot all right, not terrible. So I think he's a good pickup, honestly, for a KU team that just needs some more depth and some guys who can shoot the ball and kind of create some offense. So I think that's a big pickup, man. And just like another thing I wanted to throw in there real quick, you said Zeke Mayo. I think I talked about him last episode. Pretty much said that he was going to go to KU and you seen him sign there. I think he's probably a massive mid-major pickup for KU. I think he might be one of the best mid-major players to transition into a Power Five conference. And I think we're going to see him be a double-digit scorer in the Big 12.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think he's like a 15 plus uh, point per game kind of guy. I think in the Big 12. So
Yep.
yeah, easily the best pickup so far for Kansas. The Lawrence native from South Dakota State University. Again, he's another guy I don't really know his kind of play style. I'm not sitting there watching South Dakota State basketball. But last year he averaged 18.8 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Um, Kind of based on his numbers and his percentages, he's a pure scorer and a shooter. He shoots 46.6% from the floor and 39.1% from deep. Um, on top of making 39.1% of his threes, he made 92 of them last year. So anytime you're getting to 80 plus threes a season or in a season for college, that's getting to elite territory, in my opinion, at least. Um, so yeah, I think his biggest attributes, at least just based are on paper, is his scoring and shooting, which is something Kansas obviously lacked last year. Um, he's 100% going to be starting. I don't know exactly which position because that's one of those ordeals where I guess he could play shooting guard, but at the same time, I think that Marco Jackson will be playing the shooting guard position, so I think Mayo's probably gonna have to switch to the forward. But um, anyways, he has over 1,500 career points and 231 career 3 pointers. Not to mention he has a career field goal percentage of 45%. Um, so yeah, he's just a crazy good scorer and shooter. And I was kind of saying where I thought you'd be fitting in the starting lineup. So I think next year my projected starting lineup would probably be Dwan Harris, El Marco, Zeke Mayo, KJ Adams, and Hunter Dickinson. I think Dickinson. I think I was saying this in our last video. I see him coming back. I think he's he's going to be getting NIL money. I don't think he's going to be getting drafted, so it could be a smart decision for him to come back because I think we need him as much as he needs us. So, and yeah, I don't see Furphy coming back either, so that's another reason why I have Jackson starting. But yeah, you think that's a deadly lineup? I've seen a lot of like early AP polls or whatever predictions. They got them like top 3 or 4 already. So, you think that's fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach on what I think the starting lineup would be. Like, I don't think Furphy comes back by any means, but like he hasn't made that decision yet. So I think the longer that he doesn't say anything is better news for a KU fan on his return. Which yeah, it'd be absolutely massive if he came back. Like I said, not really planning on it, but if he did, it would change this whole KU team for sure. And I think they would be easily a top 3 team in the nation. However, if he leaves, personally, I think El Marco Jackson is going to be the 6th man off the bench, and I think they're going to start Dwan Harris, Zeke Mayo, Riley Kugel, and then Adams and Dickinson. But like I said, either way, I feel like it wouldn't be bad. But I think El Marco Jackson would be a solid 6th man off the bench and put up. I think he'd put up good numbers, not having all the pressure on him either.
Uh, yeah, I think Cujo could definitely start. It's one of those things where I think Bill Self he just has to see him play up against each other in practice, and then it's either training camp or boot camp, whatever they do during the summers. So whoever plays better is going to be starting. It's that simple. But I just there's just like a part of me that Bill Self he loves guys that been there since day one. So that's just my reasoning. But yeah, that could easily change. Um, yeah, especially with uh, he's a veteran. He's a junior or senior, I believe. Um, so that's also another thing. Experience will always outweigh, no matter what school you came from. It doesn't matter. So his sheer veteran presence could easily just be able to outplay El Marco. So yeah, you very well could be right, and that leaves us so much more depth though, as opposed to last season. So uh, after last year, I don't want to overhype them as much as I did last year. But yeah, it's another one of those seasons where, of course, I'm excited. And if Furphy comes back, I don't see why we shouldn't be a top 3 team.
No, I definitely agree with that, man. Interesting enough, like right now how it stands, like KU can't offer really another scholarship to another transfer until Furphy makes that decision, or if another player transfers because their scholarship players are pretty much used up. Unless it's a little iffy. If they want to like pull one from like next year and use it this year, they can because they have that weird scholarship like technicality because of the whole NCAA thing. But
Yeah.
like I don't know, bro. But like as of right now, until Furphy makes a decision or somebody leaves, like they don't have any really more scholarships to give out. And I know they're still talking to some transfer players, so it's kind of seeming at this point that Furphy be on his way out. But you never know. Bill Self could have a convincing argument to make him come back and try to compete for a national championship. But I know they talked to like Colby Rogers out of Wichita State, looking for more shooting to replace a guy like Johnny Furphy, and then excuse me, they're talking to another guy from Alabama. Can't quite remember his name, but really good defender over there and
They
average like
have
he's a
quite
double
a
digit
few.
scorer. Yeah, they have some guys coming in, so that's what makes you think that like Furphy's not coming back. But like I said, as the longer it goes, that he doesn't say that he's not coming back is probably better news for Kansas. I just feel like I'd probably be like better just for him not to decide if he wants to decide that, then it'd be like probably sooner than later, I'd imagine. But I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I haven't. No, I haven't really heard anything at all in Furphy about that. But yeah, I just seen a lot of reports and assumptions that he's leaving. I'm obviously one of those people, but um, I do think Dickinson's coming back because another reason is because Zeke Mayo. He kind of leaked it a couple weeks ago in a press conference. As soon as he committed, he said something along the lines of, "I'm excited to go play with DeJuan Harris and like um, a center that could shoot inside or score inside and out." And it's like, what other centers do we got on the team that can score inside and out? So
Yep.
I think he's probably talked with some of the guys, if I had to presume. Um, so he probably has an idea if he's coming back and who's not. And um, yeah, I don't have anything really else to say about that. Haven't really picked up anybody else, and we're gonna see what's going on over in Kansas State, over in Manhattan. I'm excited to see what's going on over there.
Yeah, I think it's just really exciting for all the sports right now, man. Like Kansas State and KU football, basketball, the Royals, the Chiefs' upcoming season. Besides the Rasheed Rice kind of situation, and
Yeah,
then but like it's a good year for Kansas, and if you live in Missouri or Kansas for all the sports, man, like just everybody's gonna be good. KU football's on the rise, Kansas State basketball's on the rise. It's just good to see all these teams playing so well, man. That's what it just makes me happy. I feel like.
and we might have to talk about Mizzou football. I mean, they're kind of almost guaranteed a playoff spot right now.
Did you see? Speaking of them, real quick, did you see that they just got a $12 million NIL deal? A donor
Holy,
donated $62 million for a $50 million in a stadium renovation, and then $12 million going to NIL that they can use immediately.
holy shit, man!
Yeah, they
Man,
got a fucking way. They
they
got a
gotta
way
start,
to win, dude.
they gotta start caring about their basketball, man. They go like 0-19 in conference play.
Yeah, that was terrible. They looked promising at the beginning of the year, but they just fell off terribly, man. Like
Yeah,
bad.
I remember they're like kind of competitive against KU at the field house.
Yeah, they were looking good, man. At the beginning of the year, I was like, damn, it's a pretty good Missouri team, but no, I was
No, they
wrong.
couldn't believe it against the SEC, but yeah, they're definitely. I mean, they should go to the playoffs in football. I mean, they got like, don't they have pretty much everyone coming back? I think.
Well, yeah, now that they have all that NIL money, man, they can get pretty much anybody they want for the
Oh,
most part.
that's very true. So yeah,
Like
like you said, a
they
lot
should
of
be good.
exciting news. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what's going on with the Royals. Hopefully, they can keep it up. Um, I don't want to get my hopes up too high. This team hasn't really given Kansas City a whole lot to cheer about since, obviously 2015, 2014. But
Yeah, about a decade ago, bro. Long time.
nah. Yeah, I mean, we'll never see a parade like that though either. I mean, Kansas City loves their from baseball, dude.
Dude, yeah, that parade was like I think still the biggest one Kansas City's had. You know, like that 2015 Royals parade was
Yeah,
absolutely insane, bro.
I'm pretty sure that none of the Chiefs parades have come close to that.
Dude, no, that 2015 parade, yeah, we were there, man. That was a crazy parade.
Yeah, we were all there. I don't think we were together, but I'm pretty sure the whole family went there.
Yeah, I went there with like Mary Kate and them, man. So it was a good time, but yeah,
Yeah,
it was a crazy experience, man. I don't think I'll ever see anything again like that.
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Royals fans online. They're like getting nostalgia, thinking, or because of this team, they're getting nostalgia of the 2015 season. They're like Royals, World Series bound.
Dude, that'd be awesome to see him play again, man. I remember I was out. I never got to get a chance to go in the World Series games, but I was tailgating outside the arena and watching the game on a TV out in the parking lot. I believe that was like the World Series they lost, but still, like I remember those games are really fun to watch, man. Like as a Kansas City like native, you know, we were just so happy to finally see a team play so well. Parade was out of this world. Like I said, it was just probably like one of the top 10 experiences I think I've like felt even in life, man. I just think that was like such a nice time frame for Kansas City.
Yeah, dude. I mean, a lot of it is because like with the small market team, it feels like you're just winning with the power of friendship with some of these guys.
Yeah, dude. That was a fun team to watch, man. I miss it.
You know, it's even more crazy because we knew like in a year or two it'd all be gone.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I'm surprised we made it back in 2015. Like, you know, I thought 2014 was our shot, and then I remember Perez hit up that like pop up like into the catcher on the Giants, and I was like,
Oh, it's
no.
hypothetical.
Yeah, I was like, no, man. Like, cause I was like, it was like in a 2-out position. If you remember that 2014 Royals run, like Salvador Perez hit the walk off in the wild card round.
Yeah,
He
against
hit
the
the walk off with 2 outs, and it was the same situation again with the Giants in the World Series. But he hit a pop up, and I was like, "Oh, I totally thought he was gonna do it again, man, and walk it off." But
yeah, that
oh
was
well, we made it back and we did it. I hope that we can see that, like, kind of get some of that magic back, and maybe make a run this year. But we'll see how that goes. Like we said.
yeah. I'm not gonna be like World Series or nothing with this team, bro. Just like play play close to 500 baseball, and at least a little over 500.
Yeah, that's all you need, man. You just need to be like I said, if we're like 4 games ahead right now, like that's pretty good odds, man, to keep her going and stay over 500.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, and yeah, I can't believe our runs scored and runs allowed differential plus 37. That's leading the MLB. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
like
dude.
that you're scoring and not allowing. So
That's
I
what you
mean,
got to keep doing.
yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest indicators, and in my opinion, that's one of the biggest indicators in all of baseball to how good you are. So
Yep.
yeah, a lot of exciting things. We're going to continue to talking about the Royals. They play so many damn games. Obviously, we don't live stream or make videos every day. So every couple weeks or so, we'll be giving updates and our opinions and whatnot. And hopefully, in the next week or two, hopefully, they're still number one or two in the AL Central, and we can continue talking up this game or these games. I'm actually going. Um, I believe it's the 25th. I'm going to a game um,
Awesome.
against the Blue Jays. It's either going to be Cole Reagans or Brady Singer taking the mound. So
Ooh,
that's
that'll be a good one, bro.
yeah, it's going to be a good game. And then you get to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. coming to Kansas City. That'll be fun to watch him.
Yeah, that'll be a good all around experience right there.
Yeah, so I'm ready for that. And then maybe I'll get to go to more games. And they're only like $60, dude.
Yeah, it's like Kauffman Stadium's nice too, man. Like I always like going there. I've been to a few games out there.
Yeah, yeah. Too bad when you came up, you're a little bit too late.
Yeah, I missed it, but yeah, no, the Kauffman Stadium, man, that's a nice stadium. I always like going out there and watching them play and walking around. I think it was a fun time. So yeah, I'm sure you'll have fun, man. But yeah, it'll be a fun game to watch. We'll have to come back and talk about everything after that.
All right. I think that's it, folks. Like I
Yes,
said,
sir.
hopefully we got more good news for you coming up. Peace out, John. Y'all
See
have
you
a good
later,
night.
man. Yep.